Hello. Hello, we are going to take current affairs. And today's current affair will be taken by me, Santa Claus. Hello. And what about the Gazette? Our teacher Harsh Singh will be taking the Gazette, but I will be the taker of your current affairs today. Hello, hi. Merry Christmas. Come, Harsh. This is my child, Harsh. He takes current affairs very nicely.
Santa Claus has wished each of us Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. The Santa Claus also sends warm wishes so that all that we require in our lives they get fulfilled. Their blessings with us. And in case you want to demand something special, write down in the comments. Santa Claus will ensure that they
I will
deliver
deliver
it. That they deliver it to you.
Yeah, the gift will be there under your bed, in your socks, at midnight, 12 o'clock.
Right? So write down your wish list here, and I'm sure that it will get fulfilled sometime very soon. All right?
Okay, bye. I have to deliver the gifts to other persons also. By the time I return, you write down your wish list here.
And you be there.
Yeah.
You ensure to be there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
at 7:30.
Thank you, Santa Claus.
Bye.
All right. All right. Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. Today is 24th of December 2021, the Christmas Eve, and I wish all of you good evening from Edukemy's YouTube channel. So let me see what people have wished for. Good evening, Netra. Hi, Amlan. Good evening, Dhirendra. Hi, Hima. Hi, Babani. We also have Anonymous today. Good evening to you. Hi, Ashish. Good evening. And let me see what people have written here. Just a bit. I think Santa is back. All right. Back to recover his phone here. All right. Okay. Good evening to all other people present here. An interesting discussion going on about if India should be spending in space programs. This is in light of the featured news today, that is on the James Webb telescope. What is it trying to do? The kind of expenditure that we have put in, not India, but USA and the world as a whole, and the kind of disparity, economic disparity, people looking for the basic needs. In this light, people have discussed their points here. Hello, Pooja. Good evening. And of course, we have the featured news on the same today, James Webb telescope. Good evening, Sam. Hello to you. And good evening, Manvendra. Hi, Gaurav. Jai Shri Ram to you as well. Jyotish, good evening. All right, let me see if people have wished for something here. Amlan says, good rank in UPSC 2021. Good will not do. Top rank. Right? And then we have discussion going on. Hima says, in a way, it is also a matter of national security as we got a neighbor like China, which is advancing at a much greater pace than us. And also, space sector is a profit sector for India as we should invest in our future. Okay, understandable. Hima says this. Then we have other people saying it was me. No, it was Santa Claus and that was a different person. All right. People are talking about poverty issues in India, but allocating budget for space as well in the country. All right. Very nice. Good opinion shared. Great. So let's start the conversation for today, right? We will have a good, quick conversation for today's discussion. And I'm happy you people are all here. Put your comments down here because Santa Claus might come back and these wishes might get fulfilled, right? So Amlan says good rank in UPSC. What do other people wish for? So your daily guide to UPSC current affairs is here, and what we discussed today are three important updates. Lokniti Report, an NGO's report on youth of India. What has the report spoken of? The insecurities, the kind of employment they are in, the religion that they follow, whatever. But a quick analysis of this report is here. Then we have another report from CAG on the working of Indian railways. And the third one is a demand for unified labor laws, right? We have got 4 labor codes that were introduced in the last year, right? But then there is a demand from the government, a section of the government itself, to have a unified labor code, right? This day in history dedicated to National Consumer Rights Day 2021. This was the day this legislation got enacted in the country. and we all as consumers have rights. You people as YouTube consumers have rights, right? Similarly, just yesterday when we discussed data, right, data protection, you people are generating data on YouTube, so you are producers of data and you are consumers of information. So in that case, you also have some rights on YouTube. YouTube has some liability on you. This is how we understand this train history. Featured news of today is on a technological aspect: science technology, space technology, James Webb telescope, right? We will understand what are the features of this telescope, what is it trying to do, what different modules it has got, and how it is better than the Hubble Space Telescope, and certain important features, ethical dilemmas that we just spoke of, we'll discuss in the feature news today. All right, interesting article. Image of the day dedicated to a very interesting image of International Space Station passing over Rome's Colosseum, right? The place where we would hold different kind of events. Terms for today: artificial sun, Abhyas, Vernacular Innovation Program VIP, and reintroduction of gharials in Beas River. Three editorials that we have for today are: one on sustained growth and pent-up demand, which might fade away in the near future. The second one is on India, if it is a regional leader or a leader which is become victim of circumstances. We will understand that today. And the third one is on public health data architecture, specifically on National Family Health Survey. Quite a useful editorial, the third one here. And the case study for today is on Eat Right initiative. Eat right. Do we eat right or not? At least railway stations are trying to ensure that we eat right. We will understand what this initiative is about in this case study today. Okay. Anonymous says they want rank 1. All right. UPSC Civil Services Examination. Great surprise, sir. Hima. Merry Christmas, all of you. Bhavani says her wish is one I mentioned before. Hamlan, Bhavani, my wish to Santa, bring spectacles for me. Getting back spectacles for me. Okay. I have vision. I have Edukemy, if you understood the joke. Snapshot 1 is on Lokniti Report on the youth of India, on the youth of the country. This NGO, Lokniti CSDS, has conducted a survey and a lot of people have responded. The age bracket in which people have responded is 15 to 34 years of age. Now, this is for your general awareness about what is in the country and what are their observations. So one of the findings is that the number of students, firstly, 2/5 of the people who are in this age bracket around 15 to 35, 2/3 of them have been youth. So around 40% of the people have been students in this community. 40% have been students. The rest of the people could be working professional, right? People working at home, people looking for jobs. 40% of them as students, right? A higher proportion of this population was the population that was working, right? Higher proportion of population working were males, right? More females were studying than the men, right? So these are certain kind of data that can prove very much credible when you talk of all this in essay. More females were studying than as compared to males, but more males were working in this particular age bracket, right? So youth says that they identified ability-related characteristics than identity-related factors when they look for jobs. Ability-related, for example, the qualification, experience, communication skills, soft skills. These are far more important than their identity. Identity could be height, community, region from where they belong to. These are not those factors as important when they want to get a job or find a place in the market, right? Regarding employment, so there are some change in priorities. Earlier, the last survey conducted, it said that more people wanted government jobs, and now that proportion has decreased in this survey. One reason could be possibly because the government seats have now gone down because of corona pandemic. A lot of exams have gotten postponed, because of which the youth has changed their priorities a bit. Lesser youth have asked for getting into the government services. This is another thing. Then marriage, a decent proportion of people have decreased, right? The proportion of married youth has decreased. See, so this is also talking about the social element or the personal element that every individual has. This is also reflected in the National Family Health Survey, where the total fertility rate has declined now, right? Especially in the developed states. So you should be, now this is where you see that there is a counter check of the data, and both of them are in sync with each other, right? Youth not wanting to marry and less fertility rate in the country, right? Decreasing population growth, and similarly employment changes, and youths who are working, and the population that is as a student, right? Similarly, mental health. See, mental health has been a condition which we have studied previously in 2-3 articles about, especially about students. In the mental health of youth, whether working or not, they are concerned about family financial security, right? So this is the most worrying factor for them, and more than half of them worried about their physical appearance and their job. See, physical appearance matters so much in these contemporary times, when world is moving more towards social media, Instagram, Facebook, right? And quite a few people feel sad, but we don't feel sad. We are happy people. We will move ahead, right? There are a decent proportion of people who do not want, although not feeling very good, but they do not want to approach the mental health professional. Only 3% said they want to approach mental health professional. You know why? Only because this is a social stigma. Once the society comes to know, people come to know, bolenge pagal hai, this person is gone crazy, which is not true, right? Being counseled, being helped, being supported by each other. I might need counseling the next day, right? Anybody else might need counseling, but people in our society, Indian society, are they are aware that if they go, they will face social stigma, right? Stereotyping of such people. Religious values. As far as religious values are concerned, a decent proportion of people said that they would not want any kind of see, these days those issues are going on, no? The comedy festivals and the comedy events are getting curtailed because there is a allegation that it is being done on certain religion. So today the youth says, 50% of the youth says that they would not want any religious sentiments, either of the religions, any of the religions, the sentiments not to get heard. So this is one of the important religious values that was depicted in this report. See, so 5-6 important aspects that reflect the thoughts and aspirations, imaginations of the youth. Religious values, their well-being, the concerns that they share. Not only that, what are the values in marriage, employment, and the kind of youth that is there, right? So we have understood quite a bit about them through Lokniti Report, right? So this is what it summarizes in this table as well. Okay. And very important fact here, youth is about 1/3 of India's population, right? So they shape a lot of things. They are the powerhouse, they are the driving force, the energy for the country. So what they say, it matters a lot, because a lot of other population would be high on the dependency side, right? Dependency ratio. All right. The second snapshot, let me see if there are comments. Yes, Ankit says, hey Harsh, Merry Christmas. Thank you for holding the fort on all of our behalf today. Welcome, Ankit. Ankit is a dear friend. He is one of our faculty here, a very, very popular person, right? Very proficient in ethics, polity, and essays. You will get to see him someday. Snapshot 2 is on CAG report on Indian Railways. Now, Controller and Advertiser Journal has released a report talking about the scrutinizing details of Indian Railways, the way the funds have been utilized, right? So railways had demanded for certain sum of fund and it was not completely utilized. CAG has said Indian Railways should have a better audit of how much is the requirement, how much they have to spend, so that this is how the fund are released, right? This is one thing, not a part of this report, but yes, what does this report speak of? See, common analysis. The first common analysis is during Corona times, because of lockdown, a lot of people did not travel. So passenger traffic was reduced. Yes, we did have goods traffic. The freight trains were moving, but passenger traffic was reduced. So whatever the government earned through the freight movement, the profit of it was shared in the, so what the word used usually is cross subsidy, right? So usually the passenger traffic, the prices for them fixed are lower than the prices that are fixed for the freight traffic. The prices fixed here for the freight traffic are far higher as compared to what are the usual rates. This makes railways less competitive. they always cross subsidize. But right now they did even more than this. When railways want to operate, when railways want to ensure that all its trains are well maintained, well functioned, even when they are not working, then is where the profits of this particular entity, where it is making the freight trains run, it ensured that that profit is diverted towards the regular functioning as well, regular functioning of the railways. Now, due to this, see, if there are more profits in one particular sector, should it not be utilized to ensure that this sector gets the advantage, more infrastructure in freight? Not only that, reducing the prices in freight, but it was not done, right? So a lot of money was also diverted for overall railway maintenance and its purposes. This is one. Cross subsidy, please do remember this, right? And there is another important thing called as operating ratio, net operating ratio. Operating ratio talks of the amount of money railway spends. Suppose this is the amount of money that railway spends to be able to ensure that we have a generation of revenue from the railway, right? So when the operating ratio of railway is say 95, it spends 95 rupees to be able to earn 100 rupees back, right? When the operating ratio of railways is 105, it means it is spending 105 rupees to be able to earn 100 rupees. And the operating ratio of the railway has actually increased now. The amount of money it spends to be able to gain 100 rupees, it has only increased. This is what the CAG report says. This is because of corona pandemic times. This is because railway is one of the largest employers in the country. If we include the pension, the kind of pension that railway employees get, then the operating ratio exceeds even 100. So this is an important key factor talking about the railway performance, right? So net operating ratio, here is what we have mentioned. Utilization of profit from the freight. See, there was cross subsidization here, and because of this operation of passenger and other coaching services, this is where the profit was compensated to recover the loss on the other segments, right? So these are two important things that you should mention, very, very important things: operating ratio and cross subsidization, right? So this is what largely is mentioned in this particular segment. The third one is unified labor law. We will quickly run through this. What it wants to say is that the Economic Advisory Council to the PM, they have said that instead of having these 4 codes which have been approved, but some of them yet to be notified, they must have one code in place of all these 4 codes. Which are the 4 codes? The 4 codes that we talk of are the code on wages 2019 and rest of the 3 codes which are passed in 2020, code on occupational safety, hazard and working conditions, code on social security, code on industrial relations. Why not have one code which has got dimensions which are merging from all of these different 4 codes? It becomes easy when we are trying to reduce down the number of laws. Why not reduce it down to only one law when we are talking of labor reforms, labor code? This will help simplifying the procedure, simplifying the readability of law, understanding, and for labor to understand what are their rights. They are also consumers, no? So this will make everything easy for all the stakeholders, right? Single unified labor law or reforms on all sectors of the economy. So this is what is the proposal, right? Okay. All right. Netra says super. Sangeeta, Merry Christmas to you as well. This day in history dedicated to National Consumer Rights Day 2021. So consumer rights are important, valuable rights that are provided to every consumer of any goods or services, right? We might not be even able to know that we are consuming a service, yet we are. And what comes to my mind primarily when I think of consumer protection is a code of conduct that is called as Citizens Charter. Citizens Charter. It is a direct part of our syllabus paper 2 of polity. Now, Citizens Charter is a set of document that every department must have, every department providing services or goods must have. And this Citizens Charter must contain the list of the things that that department is responsible for. So that when anybody comes for their grievance or for getting any particular services or goods, they know that these are the kind of rights that they have. They must be able to get service number 1, service number 2, service number 3, also grievance redressal, right? So citizen charter is being declared for all the ministries, all the departments. Every government institution has declared what is the kind of work that they have and for what people should be able to come to them. Government is nothing but the one which delivers services to people, right, in a social setup. This is one of the roles of the government, and this is where citizen charter and consumer rights also has its own footing, right? So consumers have 6 important rights, right? You might find more than 6 here, but they are clubbed together. So right to choose a product, right to be protected from all kinds of hazardous goods, right to be informed about performance and quality of products. Quality, see, so origin of nation, right, the source of the product must be also told to people, right to be heard in all decision making process. So right to be heard, right, and not only that, right to seek redressal and right to complete consumer education. Each of the components gets served, and the government ensures that each of them are ensured by all the service and goods providers, right? So even if you consider the packet of Lays, people have got the right to know whether it contains non-vegetarian items or vegetarian items. So green and red label are accordingly used. Right now, the government also passed a particular, it was in news that any item which is using even a small quantity of non-vegetarian item, it must place itself as the, whatever is being used in the item, right? So complete consumer education becomes important here, right? So these are certain examples also highlighting the right for anybody to consume whatever they want to consume. National Consumer Rights Day 2021. Okay, moving ahead, feature news for the day is on James Webb Space Telescope. This telescope is a new, it provides a new beginning of surveys, research into the deeper extraterrestrial objects. We will understand in complete detail why this project was launched, what are the features of James Webb Space Telescope, how is it different from the previous telescope, how does it operate. We will understand the different components of this particular telescope. It is an interesting conversation and debate, so we will get to understand a lot of things about this object. Image of the day. Today's image is on a very interesting theme. Again, space itself, but see, if you see this, this is the Colosseum in Rome. This is where many of the events would take place, right? The gladiator event, those kind of events would take place in a place like this, just like a stadium. And the image has been taken from below atop. And this is the line on which, if you can see this small line, this is the line on which you see the International Space Station passing the Earth here, right? Passing from above the Colosseum in Rome. So very interesting image. This is not something that we see regularly, right? Terms and concepts for today. First one being artificial sun. China is trying to generate the heat of a sun, the heat of an artificial sun, right? See, what is the context of these kind of countries doing a research like this, right? Not only will they be able to simulate the conditions for origin of sun and how it expanded, what happened, the life cycle, and to be able to study everything, but they will also be able to kick off an experiment to understand, to generate an auxiliary heating system, hotter and more durable. China is also a country which is in the temperate areas, right? It might need more heat than it gets. So there are various things that they can do along with the, getting to know how an artificial sun gets created, right? Not only knowing into the way a star is formed and its whole evolution, but also generate hotter systems, right? So this is through a fusion reaction that they are trying to create this. Fusion, not fission, fusion of the smaller molecules and nuclear reaction. This is what happens in a sun. A fusion reaction happens in a sun through which it is able to create a lot of energy, okay? So we have Babani says, yes, few months before it was in news. International Space Station is what you're talking of? Ravi, 7 wonders. Yes, 7 wonders, the concept of 7 wonders, it keeps changing from time to time. And I think the Colosseum is still a part of the 7 wonders, right? 7 natural wonders. There are man-made wonders also, and there are natural wonders also, right? So both of them have distinction between them. High-speed expendable aerial target. heat, Abhyas. So this is one of the experiments carried out, right? Integrated test range, and this, as the name suggests itself, it is a high-speed expendable aerial target, right? So far from ground, it is going to hit an aerial target, right? So this is one of the part of Atmanirbhar Bharat to be able to produce these kind of weaponry. All right, experimental phases. This is an important one. This was from PIB, Vernacular Innovation Program, VIP. Now, through this program, one is going to ensure that India has an innovation policy which respects the 22 languages in the schedule, right? So, this becomes important because many people, many Indians, people from Tamil Nadu, people from Gujarat, people from Assam, people from Manipur, any people speaking Dogri from Jammu, any language, any of these are just the examples. There are explorers, there are researchers from these streams as well, and we do not have basic science technology text in these languages. So Vernacular Innovation Program will not only ensure that text is available to these people, all the people in the regional languages, these 22 languages, but also that more text gets created in this language so that it propagates the scientific temperament and innovations in the languages as well. Right now, which is the language in which we study mathematics? It is only English, mostly English, right? Mostly English. The primary education is mandated to be in vernacular, but the secondary and tertiary education, we hardly have a medium in which regional languages get this promotion. On the other hand, countries as big or small as France, Germany, England is a different case, right? But then what about Belgium? What about a country like Netherlands, Finland? Very small countries, but they have their unique language. A country like Japan, all of them have their own languages. But a country as big as India and Bengal, for example, Bengal having 10 crore of population, Tamil Nadu having 8-9 crore of population, should their languages not get the same emphasis as the language which Finland gives or Spain gives? Yes, they must, because there are a huge number of people speaking this language as well, local languages. They are called as local, but a good population speaks this. If we want to develop India's resources, we will have to respect India's languages first, because only in this local language can we develop science, technology, arts, commerce, all the different streams. Or if we want to convert to a universal language, for example, English, we will be giving up our own languages, right? We studied one of the criteria for vulnerability of language, if you remember that, right? Reintroduction of gharials in Beas reserve. Now, there is a difference between gharials, and then alligators and crocodiles. Anybody? You should be able to know the difference between these kind of animals. All of them are found in India. And this is about reintroduction of this gharial species in Beas river. Only when we clean the river, only when we are able to protect these species will be back here. And this is what is in news. This is a critically endangered species, that is why very much in news. And they're found in various other ecosystems also, right? So one of them is Beas. They're also found in other ecosystems like Chambal River, Ghagra, Gandak River, Son River, right? And what do they eat? They eat fishes, right? Freshwater fishes. And that is why having these fishes is important in the ecosystem, so that the prey base exists. Only if the prey base exists will we have the species, the main species which is preying upon these species. Same is the case with reintroduction of cheetahs, reintroduction of leopards, reintroduction of keystone species, or the species which is at the helm of the food chain, right? Lion, tigers. If the prey base is present, if water is present, they will be present at those locations. Critically endangered gharials. Okay. Jyotish says it is the structure of snout and habitat. Snout is this nose, the way it protrudes out, right? This is definitely one criteria. So alligator has a thin nose, an elongated nose, and then we have crocodile, a very broad nose, right? Snout. All right. Then we have the first editorial. The first editorial is talking about India as a regional leader, not a victim of circumstances. So very interesting editorial from Indian Express from the Hindu. What it says is that there are three important events that have happened lately which have made India go to the back foot. First is the corona pandemic. The second is the withdrawal of USA from Afghanistan. And the third event that has happened is the issue of dominance of China along both the sectors, the northern and eastern sector, right? New construction happening in Arunachal Pradesh, more issues happening in the Galvan Valley, in the northern part of India, Ladakh region, because of which India has faced multiple issues, right? So let's take each of them one by one. Corona crisis has expanded. India not only had to inoculate its own people, but also had to distribute some of the vaccinations in the subcontinent. The other countries nearby, they had paid for the vaccinations. India had promised them, but India did not deliver those number of vaccine doses. So this is something that India has faced. Corona pandemic itself is a crisis. More than that, USA withdrawal, America withdrawal from Afghanistan, a security concern, humanitarian concern, and security of course in Afghanistan and Kashmir, and the concern for drug trafficking, right, terrorism. When China wants to expand, it wants to expand at its neighbors' cost, India's cost. So this is again in focus because the government has received huge criticism. Satellite data says that China has come into the disputed territory which was claimed by India, which was owned by India. On the other hand, the government does not say anything like that. So these are the kind of criticisms that the government has received. See, India must not project this kind of image, not as a victim of circumstances, but as a regional leader, because the neighbors, they look at India as a superior brother, right? In this case, India should not project an image like this. But if you look at the situation that India has projected, the example was given of Taliban. India has not showed itself as a past, as a visionary in the past, in the present times, or in the future times. When you look at the past, meetings were held in Doha, right? Doha talks were held regarding Afghanistan. Then we had Troika Plus also meetings held. India did not ever speculate how USA will move out suddenly of Afghanistan. India did not speculate how India should be able to engage with Taliban in case USA moves out. And India does not have an effective diplomatic relationship also with Afghanistan. So very, very ill, right? Present times and the future times as well. Now, future times, for example, there could be any time where Northern Alliance gains power. The people who are trying to oppose Taliban in Afghanistan, they gain power. Earlier, the last time this happened, the last time in 1990s it happened, India definitely had kept Northern Alliance, the opposition parties, in its side. But this time India has not even had talks with them. So India has not kept the future open, and the present and past is already not very, very conducive for India. So this is something that does not speak very well of India's diplomatic stand with its neighbors. And what is required right now is to have a better diplomatic stand as a regional leader, right? Because the countries nearby look forward to India's dominance, India's support. One good example of this is United States of America, which has condemned one of the forces of Bangladesh, one of the military forces of Bangladesh. If you know the name, type it out here. And this is the time when an international organization is shunning a regional organization. India should come in support of a country like this, of support of these events, right? So this is where the regional dominance will also have its say. Just like Asia has its say, South Asia also should have its say. India is the one which will lead that movement. This is what the editorial speaks of. So why would China not want India to get promoted in these places? China would not want it because of several factors. For example, China-Pakistan economic corridor. This is one of the reasons China wants its promotion. China does not want India to start reclaiming those lands which it has already asked for. China doesn't want that. China doesn't want India to increase the infrastructure at border areas. But on the other hand, China has already presented its border infrastructure, right? Be it air landing strips, be it roads, be it railway infrastructure. China has all of them at the border communities. We have also studied in the past in so many editorials that China has tried to mix the Buddhist community, the Tibetan Buddhist community and the traditional community, bringing them, the Mandarin speaking people, bringing them to the border areas and ensuring that the cross marriage happens and their settlement along the border happens, so that there is no rebellion for Tibetan region or an independent country. In fact, they all united, have a structure present against our country, India. So China is trying multiple ways. India must also present a South Asian face here. Third editorial for today, the second editorial for today is on National Family Health Survey. This survey started in the year 1992 and 1993. Right. Editorial gives a good history. I think that you should read this editorial as well. I will definitely give you a quick essence and summary of it. So when it started in 1992, 1993, the idea was to collect certain data, health related data, parameters to understand what is the prevalence of a particular kind of disease, what is the health of the female, of the child, what is the proportion of maternal and infant or child mortality ratio. So these are the kind of and certain indicators that indicate the condition of malnutrition in the body. Right? This was the idea. But with time, what has happened is that this has become a supra survey, a bigger survey, and many innumerable smaller factors have also come into this survey. For example, what is the spread of non-communicable diseases? Who smokes? What are the issues with the heart with people? And this survey is carried out in those females which are in a particular age gap. The age bracket is 15 to 49 years, right? And in this bracket, those females are surveyed and their husbands are also asked questions, right? Quite a few lakh of females were surveyed this time. This was the 5th survey. This is carried out every 4 to 5 years. And so this survey provides huge amount of data, but there are issues here. Though all the agencies depend on a data like this, yet there is inconsistency somehow. Why? Because there are smaller surveys also sometimes conducted. For example, survey about tobacco, survey on the prevalence of AIDS, survey on the prevalence of tuberculosis. This is just an example. And on the other hand, there is a huge survey conducted by National Family Health Survey. There is data inconsistency because the age bracket in these surveys are different. An age bracket in this survey is different. This is one thing. Not only that, the sample size are both different. So the idea that this editorial gives is that also one more thing that the length of this survey length, if a female is answering this survey, it has as many as 11 to 1200 questions, and it is spanned over 90 plus pages. One person has to respond. This is for female. For a male also, it is no less 800 questions and almost 40 pages of survey. So this is not a small deal, right? We have to read through 40 pages, and we are not talking of the educated UPSC students. This is the general population we are talking of, right? So this is something that this should be reduced. Therefore, why not empower these smaller surveys to create bigger surveys? See? And have this smaller size of National Family Health Survey. Not that we do not have technological capabilities. We have surveys which can be conducted over internet, which have a fast response time. We have finances. All we need is a political will. This is what it says. Needed a public health data architecture for India. This public health data architecture can be provided we have many surveys for different activities under different heads, under 2-3 different streams, right? So this is one important recommendation the editorial gives. The editorial also says another important aspect of health, that is that we must be able to differentiate between a survey and other important ways in which data is collected. There are other ways in which data is collected. For example, if we want to conduct an audit of a program, right? And if we want to merely collect data, these are two different aspects. When we want to conduct an audit of a program, this is different as compared to collection of data, right? So both should be segregated. This is what the editorial points at. A good editorial you should be able to read, right? Both from the Hindu, and the third one is from Indian Express. So Pooja says China wants acquisition. Yeah, it wants acquisition across, no? Along with many other countries. India is not the one. Vietnam, Philippines, Japan, Russia. It goes as far as that. Right? Rapid Action Battalion, absolutely. So USA has sanctioned the RAB of Bangladesh, and this is where India should come ahead and recognize a force like this. India is the one who is in regional dominance of power, right? Thank you, Netra. Right. Anonymous also says that, absolutely. Jyotish, oh, very nice. You all guys are well aware of it, right? So start linking. What you are doing right now in the conversation is really good. You should start linking at all these things, right? Okay, China is also trying to partner Myanmar. Absolutely, Ashish. Anonymous says CPEC. Absolutely. So when China is trying to partner Myanmar, you know what India's foreign secretary went ahead with Myanmar and said, as I mentioned to you, that India went ahead with giving 1 million vaccine doses to Myanmar. It was, although a small quantity, but a good gesture. India said, please allow us to meet Miss Aung San Suu Kyi, right? And then they didn't allow him to meet her, right? So this is how India is trying to gain inroads into Myanmar, and USA has given the liability on India. USA is quiet on the democracy issues in Myanmar, and India is trying to gain inroads. But so this is how, once we are updated on the daily events, no, we will understand how diplomacy works, the intricate things they work, right? So these are the kind of debates that usually happen on All India Radio or Raj Sabha TV, or if you read editorials every day, or if you are a part of this conversation, you people are yourself typing out these things, right? So we start getting more insights. Sustaining growth after pent-up demand fades. See, this is about the K-shaped recovery. Some of these sectors are recovering well, some of the sectors are not recovering well. On one side, we see there is a huge demand in economy, that is talking about, you know, how the economy wants to resurge, right? Resurge, right? Just like a phoenix, the whole stock market has bounced back from Nifty, which went on to drop around 7 to 8,000 levels just 1 year back, and now it is at around 18,000 levels. Can you imagine? The Nifty, which is an indicator of the stock market position, it was at 8,000 levels all time. 8,000. So it started late 90s, right, in the Nifty, and from 8,000 points it has touched 18,000 points. What has happened in the economy? What drastic change has happened? It dropped from around 12,000 levels to 8,000, 12,000 before pandemic to 8,000, and then right to 18,000. People say it is the pent-up demand, right? So there's been a sudden boom in the economy because of several factors. A lot of people have started to invest in stock market now, but there are other indicators also. For example, index of industrial production, purchasing managers index, right? Demand for electricity, demand for power, right? Many other logistical demand or logistics movement, all these are indicative, right? Demand for agricultural goods and produces. These are all indicative that there's a good demand, consumption base is increasing. But this is not the only way we can understand if demand is actually increasing or not, because there are many sectors which are still reeling down. The K-shaped recovery, do remember this, right? We have many sectors like this. Good examples of this are related to sectors like tourism, sectors like MSME, right? Then we have sectors which, can you name a few? Can you name a few, please? You should be able to name a few. Sectors which are doing well are software industry. Sectors which are doing well are online education, online health, right? Pharmaceutical industry, certain good industry which are export driven, right? So you should be able to give me some examples of the sectors which are still not doing that well. So this is the third editorial, right? And we come on to the case study. But before we discuss the case study, I would like you to bless us with your best wishes for Christmas through likes, comments and shares. If you subscribe to the channel, you will receive many timely updates. We are also scheduling quite a few live debates on main examination. So you will be able to see what kind of questions came just the next day. No, in fact, the same day. We have scheduled it for the same day, right? Just the day main exam is held, you will have a live discussion on the same day, immediately 3 years after the exam is held. So there will be a panel which will be called, and it will be a short discussion, half an hour. You should be able to know what came from the current affairs segment and what did not, right? So only if you subscribe to the channel, you will receive these kind of updates, right? Today is the case studies on Eat Right initiative. Bhubaneswar has become one of the stations which has become a part of the Eat Right initiative, right? So what it is trying to do is ensure that only good kind of food is available, those kind of food which cause illness, right? Various kind of illness, they are not present in the Bhubaneswar railway station, right? So more collaboration on capacity building, empowerment approach has been adopted by this particular organization, and through this they are selling high quality nutritious food to the passengers. Bhubaneswar is not the first city. There have been other cities also which have gained this acclaimed position. Bhubaneswar is one of them, right? Okay. Quote of the day for today is: the goal of the food safety professionals should be to create a food safety culture, not a food safety program. See, food safety culture rather than a food safety program, right? So this is the example of Bhubaneswar, and we will be able to produce innumerable such examples through our work, provided we get into the civil services. In the railway services only, there are three different services. There is one railway traffic, railway accounts, and railway personnel. Railway personnel handles the more than 10 lakh workforce of railways. Railway accounts and audit handles the account, audit, budget. Its railway budget is itself a huge thing. They handle that. And then the third is railway traffic. This is where there are certain requirements for eyesight, and one should not be colorblind. Those things are there. And it is about railway traffic, right? Maintenance of railway traffic, some supply and demand of the trains alongside, right? So let me see what people have mentioned. Informal sectors, construction sector. Okay, good. Then Sam says hotel, restaurant industry. Yes, absolute. Conventional industries, the shopping mall industry, real estate industry. Pooja says, sir, have given you the like. Okay, thank you, Pooja. Thank you. Bani says that too. All right. So there are questions. We will entertain them. Put them down in the comment section. We will see you back on Monday. Tomorrow is Saturday and day after is Sunday. What I would like you to do is to be able to go through these videos in case you haven't watched them. In case you have, please revise them for this week, for the last week. If in case you have missed out some of the videos, please do look at them, because this current affairs is the daily event. The new content will only get updated. Eat Right initiative will not get repeated. So please note them down at the right place and keep revising. Saturday, use for that. And what do you do on Sunday? Play a little and go and speak to your friends, right? Make a light mood out of the event tomorrow. And one more important thing, speak to your parents, speak to your family. That becomes very important. This journey is that of a marathon. It is not a short-term sprint race. It is a marathon journey, and it requires the support of a lot of people, well wishes of a lot of people. I also wish well to all of you, and I would like you to well wish for me as well, similarly. So with this, I conclude this session, and I will be able to see you Monday evening. Till then, enjoy and have a nice time. Keep studying. God bless. Oh yes, we also have this feature, no? We'll have a feature discussion very, very shortly. Thank you.